Everybody's attention, please, while the last of the quizzes are being passed back. Let's try to go over each of these questions so that you can see what you're doing right or what you need to improve upon a little bit. Anna, thank you so much for checking those homeworks. So, the first one to go over is relation A. And some of the mistakes that I've seen one or two kids write the answer as a coordinate, like parenthesis 7 comma 2 parenthesis, yet we don't want to do that. This is a slope. A slope or a rate of change is always written as a fraction. And some people are writing 2 over 7. Guys, the slope, or rate of change, is change in y over x. It's how much you go up. That's the y. You do that first. That's up 7 over 2. So 7 over 2. That's the first answer to the first question. And a lot of people got it right. But some people are still messing it up. Like I said, some people are writing as a coordinate, 1 or 2 of you are, and some people are writing it inverted. They're putting 2 over 7. It should be 7 over 2, change in y. The y is going up 7, the x is going over 2. Now, looking at the table, you guys did a really, really strong job looking at the table. But again, I just want to remind, a couple of people wrote 1/5. It's 5 over 1. It's the change in y over the change in x. The change in y, it's going up 5s. The x's are 1, so it's 5 over 1. And last but not least, relation C, the rate of change is the slope, which is the number in front of the x, which is 2. Now, Lenny, you weren't here yesterday, so I understand why you didn't do this. But there were a couple of others who didn't do it who were here yesterday. And what we said to you was that you need to show the work in each step so that I can see what the rate of change is. Manny?
For relation A, I got 7 over 2. I just converted it into a decimal. Like division.
And did you get 3.5?
No.
7 over 2 is 3.5. Okay. Now, we'll get to talk about that a little bit in just a minute about that particular thing. Now, the answer should be choice B because 5 is bigger than 7 over 2 and it's bigger than 2. Now, I think everybody knows right away that 5 is bigger than 2. But some people put A because they see the 7 here. But if I get a fraction, like Manny was just saying, he said he got 7 over 2. And then he said he converted to a decimal. Now, I'm not sure what he got when he converted to a decimal, but if you take your calculator and you do 7 divided by 2, you're going to get 3.5.
Oh.
Okay? Yeah, if you got 4.5, I don't know if you hit the 9 instead of the 7. Matt, hang on. Wait. Oh, is that a pass to go somewhere? Okay. So I don't know what you did that was in there, but make sure that you do the division properly. And then if you look at them, you got 3.5, 4.0, if you counted wrong, which 1 or 2 people did. 5 is bigger than either of those. So the answer has to be relation B. As far as the reason goes, I found each slope, rate of change, and 5 over 1 is the biggest.
Yeah, what's the reason?
The major part of the reason is that 5 over 1 is the biggest number or the largest number. But I also mentioned that I did find each slope so that I could compare them. Okay? Any questions? All right. Now we just start going through last night's homework. And if you get it out, there's basically 1 or 2 questions on most pages. We will go through, God bless, and show you what to get out of that. John?
I got 3.5 today.
And what about it?
And I got 90.
Oh, you know what? You didn't write 3.5. You wrote the equation of the line, y equals 3.5x plus something or other. I need to know just what the rate of change is. I don't need to know what the equation of the line is. Okay, so by giving you a 90, I gave you most of the credit for that question. But I took a few points off. Okay? All right, so now, Kenneth. Oh, excuse me. All right, so it wants to know what you could tell about the solutions here. And what you could say is that the only point that satisfies both equations are graphed simultaneously. For those people, Ava, for those people who took the state test today, if we get to a question that looks like something on the state test, I'd appreciate it if you stop me and let me know. Okay? I haven't seen the state test. Was this like one of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? And did you guys look at it and go, we reviewed that, I'm ready?
Yeah. I did that.
Diego, you said no?
I didn't know.
You just find the point where they meet. You find the point where they meet, and then it's on both lines, so it satisfies both solutions. All right. Now, for the next three, it was the best solution. Now, they don't meet exactly on the point, but you get the closest point because we're estimating it. Okay? Any questions? You look at the coordinates where they would meet. Like this is closest to -2, 0. This is the closest to 4, 2, and so on. All right, next page. Yeah.
I have a question about the state test. There was like a certain question that was like.
Excuse me a second. Hey, Josh is trying to speak and I can't hear.
There's like this question about a pyramid on top of a cube, and it's like you cut it so like some incline.
You mean a
whatever.
square on top of the
No, it's a pyramid on top of the cube. Then
Yeah.
it's just about cutting it somewhere with a plane. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't say that question at all.
It was like a cube and then a pyramid on top of the cube and on the falling thing.
Yeah, that's like what
Half of it.
what shape is it if you cut it down in the middle, whatever.
Did they give you 4 shapes?
Yeah.
It would have like a point at the top and then a square base. What's that?
It'd be like a house.
Yeah, it would look like a pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
But
All right.
I don't know my shapes.
Ready? Okay, next question. Here we go. Take a look. If you have any questions, I'll go over it. Hey, shh. Guys, you have to will yourself into paying attention to this. You can't let yourself be distracted. If you do, then you don't learn. Any questions? Okay, scan 3. I'll scroll up a little bit more in a minute. Any questions? I hope you're feeling really comfortable with questions like that. All right, I really do, because if you are feeling comfortable, you're in great shape. Okay, next up. Remember the 3 angles of a triangle add up to 180? But when you do a dilation, the angles don't change, the angles stay the same. So the length of the sides change, but the angles stay the same. So when we get this new figure, it has to have angles that are the same size. Not sides, angles. Okay, any questions? Okay, in this case, you make them equal to each other. So you had to do it twice, which I did right here, and then I solved each of them. I had one of those veggie burgers today. I'm starting to burp.
They're good.
They're okay.
Well, they're school lunches, what do you
Right,
expect?
exactly.
Okay, good.
All right, here we go. For this guy, you need to rotate it and then translate it down, and I think it's going to end up being 1 unit to the left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so a rotation and a translation. Spin it, drop it.
Because it would spin on K, right?
This origin there, yeah. Any questions? There's that last one. In this problem, what's happening is that the length is changing. It's becoming twice as long. As soon as it becomes twice as long, you know that it has to be a dilation, because dilations are the only thing that changes the size. I look at this slope here and I go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. So I look at the choices, and the only one that has a slope of 3 is choice C. So that has to be the answer to the problem. Next one, the one that's not a function. At some point, they will on your, for those taking the state test, and also for our final exam at the end, they will on one of these, God bless, ask you which one of these is not a function, or they'll give you 3 that's not, and they'll ask which one is. It is a function if all of the input values are different. 2, 4, 5, 8, -1, 2, -3, -4. But here the 3's repeat. Because the 3's repeat, that's the one that's not a function. Okay, the next one says, which represents a linear function. A linear function is a line, so it has a constant slope. The slope doesn't change. So I have to look for the one that has a constant rate of change. And the one that has a constant rate of change is choice C. Okay? Here we go. It says here, table below shows it. It says, Susie says the relation above is also a function. Is she correct or not? She is correct, because all of the x values have a y value. If any of these x values repeated, like if it was 4, -2, -2, 0, then it wouldn't be a function. But nothing repeats on the x values, so therefore, or the input values, therefore it is a function. Nice little question here. This has a higher slope. They tell you the slope of this line is 15.55, the rate of change. So this line over here above, I can't even read what that says. What does that say? Bella. Bella has a slope that has to be steeper or higher than this slope in the middle, which is 15.55. And Elsie's has to be lower than 15.55. If I look at the choices, the only one that has that is choice D. A little bit of a different spin on a slope question there. Okay, this one has a slope of -2 and a slope of -0.5. So I look for lines that have -0.5 and -2 as the answers, and that would be choice B. All right. Any questions? All right. Check these out. Any questions here? No, we're okay? Okay. That one's pretty straightforward. Now, the way I did this one was to plug in certain values. This one says it's like 300 every 10 minutes. So I do 300, 10 seconds, I'm sorry. And then another 3 and 10, and another 3 and 10. The next one, I used the beginning and ending points. At time 0, 0, you're stuck on the ground floor. And then you go to time, what does it say there? What does it say? Somewhere in here it tells you. Oh, to the top of the building, and it's 1,440 feet tall. So then you just draw the line through there at the time, and then you look for whichever one has the tallest, steeper slope. So that means it goes up faster. That's the John Hancock Center, and it has a steeper slope. Okay, take a look at those. Any questions on this page? No? All right. Next up, bless you. Negative exponent.
Scared me.
Reciprocal, sir, very good. So when it comes out to 5 to the negative 4, but you see that negative reciprocal, or the negative exponent, you know it means reciprocal, so it's 1 over 5 to the 4. And here is the next question for you. Okay, next up. It's a very hard question here. You have to do the slopes and the rates of change and compare them. Okay. All right, any questions anywhere through it? Okay, so listen, Lenny, the people who took the state test today, did you notice questions in this review packet from yesterday that looked like any of the state questions you took today, similar content?
Yeah, there was like one, only like maybe one or two that were like, kind of like went to the exactly the pack, but the rest were kind of like different.
Okay.
There's like one exponent or two exponent questions. And then
Right, I would guess there were 1 or 2 lines, 1 or 2 exponents, 1 or 2 scientific notation, 1 or 2 graphing, 1 or 2 rate of change. That would be my guess. And it's going to be like that each day. So when I give you these questions, for example, when you see this font, this is an old state assessment test question. When you see this font, here, 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 these are all old state test questions from previous years. The ones they release to the public. A lot of them they don't release to the public, they keep hidden, but these ones they did. So what I want you to be able to do is know that the time you put in, the work you're doing, is going to help you on that test. It's important for you to know that. It's important for every kid in here to respect that, and the fact that they need to work efficiently. And then for the rest of you, the ones who said that there were questions on each of those topics on the test, 1 or 2 questions, that's a good thing. I never saw the state test. I still haven't seen it. You saw it before I did. You will see every piece before I did. At some point, I will go down to guidance, and I will pull out a copy of the test, and I'll look through, and I'll see what it looked like. But at this point, I haven't done it yet. What I'm looking for from you guys is for you to know that your final exam I have seen. And these questions, I will make sure that you see the kinds of questions, the content of the questions will be very similar to what you have on a state test. So, keep working on this. Know that your efforts are not in vain. You have about 7 minutes till the bell rings. All right, keep working, 7 or maybe a little bit more. Yeah, 7 minutes. Keep working on it over the next 7 minutes. And then we will, with the sheet you're working on now, I will do the answers to that sheet tomorrow and put it up on the board.